Best 5 states with the lowest property taxes for tiny homes. What if I told you that the dream of owning a tiny home can quickly turn into a financial nightmare if you don't pay attention to one crucial factor: property taxes? Yes, those sneaky annual bills that can quietly drain your bank account faster than you can say minimalist living. Owning a tiny home doesn't automatically mean you're free from the taxman's grasp. In fact, some states tax property so heavily that your tiny home lifestyle could end up costing you way more than a traditional house. But here's the kicker. There are states out there where property taxes are surprisingly low, making them perfect destinations for tiny homeowners who want to keep their expenses minimal and their peace of mind maximal. Today, we're going beyond the usual advice and revealing the 5 best states with the lowest property taxes for tiny homes in the United States. Whether you're thinking about buying land, relocating, or just curious about where your tiny home dollars stretch the farthest, this video is your ultimate guide to saving thousands over the years. So, ready to discover where your tiny home can truly thrive without the weight of heavy property taxes? Let's dive in, and trust me, you're going to want to stick around till the end because some of these states might surprise you. Florida. Let's kick things off with the ever-popular Sunshine State, Florida. Beyond the beaches, theme parks, and endless summer vibes, Florida is a shining beacon for tiny homeowners thanks to its impressively low property taxes. Here's why Florida stands out. The average effective property tax rate is around 1%, which is significantly lower than the national average. But what makes Florida truly attractive is its Save Our Homes constitutional amendment, which caps the annual increase in assessed value of your primary residence to just 3% or less. Imagine that. Your tiny home's taxable value can only rise modestly each year, shielding you from sudden, painful spikes in your tax bill. The catch? This protection only applies if your tiny home is your permanent residence, so renting it out or using it as a vacation property might expose you to higher taxes. And there's more. Florida does not have a state income tax, meaning your overall tax burden remains low. But before you rush to buy a tiny home near Miami, remember that local property tax rates can vary by county, and some popular areas may have higher levies due to special assessments or municipal taxes. Also, navigating the complex web of county exemptions and homestead declarations is a must to maximize your savings. The funny side? Picture your tiny home neighbor trying to explain why their mansion's property tax is sky high while you sip lemonade, paying a fraction of that bill. Wyoming. Moving from sunshine to wide-open skies, Wyoming is a hidden gem for tiny home enthusiasts who want to escape high taxes and crowded neighborhoods. With an effective property tax rate averaging just about 0.61%, Wyoming consistently ranks among the states with the lowest property taxes nationwide. Add to that the absence of state income tax, and you've got a tax-friendly paradise. But don't let the low taxes fool you into thinking the path is easy. Wyoming's vast rural landscapes come with their own challenges. Zoning laws can be strict, and not every county is tiny home friendly. Securing land for your tiny home might require research, persistence, and sometimes even negotiations with local officials. The great news? Once you're set up, your tax bills will remain small, often less than half of what you'd pay in neighboring states. Imagine owning a tiny cabin under the endless blue sky and paying property taxes so low that you wonder if it's a glitch in the system. The risk is that rural life demands more self-reliance. Think off-grid systems, snow removal, and longer drives for amenities. But for many, that's part of the charm, and the tax savings make it all worthwhile. Alaska. If you think Alaska is all about ice and isolation, think again. It's also a surprisingly attractive state for tiny homeowners looking for low property taxes and some unique financial perks. Alaska's average effective property tax rate sits around 1.19%, which might seem modest, but what really makes it special is what you don't pay. No state income tax and no state sales tax in many areas. On top of that, the state's permanent fund dividend pays residents a yearly check from oil revenues, effectively putting free money back in your pocket. Imagine that. Your tiny home living is partially subsidized by the state itself. The flip side? Alaska's extreme weather means your tiny home needs to be built with serious insulation and heating systems, which can bump up your initial costs. Plus, property tax exemptions in some rural areas might apply only if you meet specific residency and land use criteria. The challenge of living in remote regions means higher transportation costs and logistical hurdles, but if you're ready for adventure, the tax breaks are well worth it. Visualize your tiny home surrounded by snow-capped mountains, paying less tax than your neighbors in lower 48 states. That's Alaska's magic. Delaware. Next up is Delaware, a small state with surprisingly big tax advantages for tiny homeowners. Delaware's average effective property tax rate is about 0.56%, making it one of the lowest in the entire country. What makes Delaware especially appealing is that it has no sales tax. So not only will your tiny home's property tax be low, but you'll also save money on almost every purchase you make for your home, from furniture to appliances. That's a double win when you're trying to keep your tiny lifestyle affordable. However, Delaware's tax benefits vary significantly by county, and some urban areas have higher property taxes due to local levies and school district funding. The risk? If you don't carefully pick your location, your tax savings might be much less than expected. Delaware's historical significance as the first state to ratify the Constitution gives it a sense of prestige, but its size means you can enjoy both low taxes and proximity to major metropolitan areas like Philadelphia, Baltimore, and Washington, D.C. The humorous part? Tiny homeowners boasting about their low taxes while their friends in bigger houses pay through the nose for parking permits and municipal fees. Nevada. Rounding out our list is Nevada, known for the glitz of Las Vegas but increasingly recognized for its favorable tax climate for tiny homeowners. Nevada boasts an average effective property tax rate near 0.60%, and, importantly, no state income tax, which helps stretch your tiny home budget further. The state has seen growing acceptance of alternative housing options, including tiny homes, especially in rural counties where zoning laws are evolving to be more inclusive. However, don't assume it's a free-for-all. Urban and suburban areas often have stricter zoning regulations and potentially higher property taxes due to special assessments and municipal fees. The challenge is balancing your desire for low taxes with access to services and community infrastructure. But here's the silver lining. Nevada's desert landscapes offer affordable land prices, and the low tax burden means more money for solar panels, water systems, or that funky interior design you've been dreaming about. The humorous image? A tiny homeowner throwing a pool party in the desert while their neighbors sweat over skyrocketing tax bills. If you learned something new today, smash that like button and hit subscribe for more deep dives into tiny living and smart financial tips. Got a favorite state or personal experience with tiny home taxes? Drop a comment below. Let's get the conversation rolling. Thanks for watching, and remember, sometimes the smallest places offer the biggest financial freedom.